Hi. Feeling pretty ropey, I've got to be honest. The ear infection's not going anywhere. Well, it is. It's going sort of down the face and in the sinuses and stuff. So, yeah, not feeling the love, but have decided to utilise my time inside on X. I have to do it in bursts. I don't know if anyone else feels like this. You sort of have to be robust. You're like, right, okay, 10 minutes of X, let's have it. And it actually always turns out to be quite funny. And I'm learning lots of things. So the first thing I'm learning is you're not always arguing with an actual person. Now, I had no idea about this. This shows me up for being as naive as I actually am. There are lots of bots. I didn't even know what a bot was until the other day. Can you get paid for being on X? Is this true? I hear this rumour a lot, that people, like, they'll say, oh, you're being paid by the Labour Party. I mean, they don't say that to me, obviously. They'd want a refund if it was. But they say, oh, you're being paid by the Labour Party, or you're being paid by the Conservatives. Does that actually happen? Is that, like, real? Because if it is, that could help solve my car issue. Asking for a friend. But it's interesting. It's really interesting seeing the themes that sort of come around and then disappear and then come around and disappear. There's less of a theme on it being a tax loophole at the minute, because I think that penny has dropped. It's not a tax loophole. It was never taxed, so it can't be a tax loophole. And what I love about this one is people go, it's a tax loophole. Pay your taxes. Pay up. Rich people should just pay and stop whinging. And then disappear like nowhere when you come up with a credible argument as to you already are paying your taxes, and in this case you're going to be paying them twice, and this is how much it's going to cost the state when you leave private school and no longer pay the VAT, so therefore there is no money going into state education, but you're taking money out of state education. There's like this tumbleweed of silence. Pay up, you have a choice, is the stock reply, which makes me laugh and makes me go, I'm not engaging with you. Then another really good one is Keir Starmer wasn't privately educated, apart from the fact that he was. And so they go, he wasn't privately educated, he went to a grammar school. Yes, he did. But that grammar school turned private during his tenure there. And he actually stayed for sixth form. And the council didn't pay for sixth form. Someone else is going to have to do some digging as to who did pay for sixth form, but it wasn't his father. He had a free education and it wasn't disrupted. Well, it wasn't his fault that it changed from being a grammar to a private school, was it? He had no choice. Whoa! Let's not be doing choice. That's been outlawed. Nobody has a choice anymore. Why should Keir Starmer have had a choice if we can't have one? So we get that, and we get, well, there was a choice, actually. His dad was so vehemently opposed to the private sector that when it went private, he could have taken him out and put him in a state school. But he chose not to. He chose to have the council pay for his son's fees. Now, he did that either because he thought it was a better school. He thought Keir would have better chances. He thought that Keir was happy and he didn't want to disrupt him. His wife told him to do it, 90% of the decisions in a household and all that. There's lots of reasons as to why. We don't know what any of them are. We can guess, but we don't know. But either way, we know that Keir Starmer stayed in a private school education until he'd done his A-levels, then he went off to uni, then he went to Oxford, and then he became a barrister and earned 400,000 a year or something, but he's normal and working class. So we have that one, and I like that one. That one's a favourite one because that's quite quick to get rid of. And then we have, well, it was in the manifesto, you should have known, and you could have paid up front. I love that. Paid up front. I have trouble with the termly. I mean, when the school says you can pay it by monthly direct debit, I'm like, what about daily? Can we do daily? Is that all right? Paying up front, I mean, really, who do they think they're talking to? There are some people, that was it. So Stowe School was on trending the other day. Trending, get me. And somebody was saying, if they can afford 47,000 a term or whatever it is, I don't know. And it's like, yeah, that's Stowe. And the point that I talked about the other day where somebody said that's like saying all cars are Lamborghinis, loved that. Our private school is not that much, nowhere near that much, but it would still be nice if we could pay daily instead of monthly. I didn't have that money to pay up front. I don't know that many people that did. If they did, congratulations, well done you. For the rest of us, a bit icky. So it was in the manifesto, so you should have planned for it. Okay, did you plan for the national insurance hike? Did you plan for the winter fuel being cut? I mean, what things did you plan for? Was it just me that needed to plan for that? Anyone? Okay, no. So that's quite a good one, but that gets a bit meaty. And I get a bit cross with that, so I have to step away with that because I find that really insulting. And then the language. Oh, the language. And we've talked about this. To the children, it's a very clear edict. If you wouldn't say it to Granny, I don't want it on social media, you don't say it to anyone. If you would say it to Granny, it's okay. Because we all know that the only thing that's ever said to Granny is, I love you, Granny, you're the greatest thing ever. Which is how it should be. But there's lots of people on social media whose grannies are really super liberal. Like, wow, she lets them say a lot of stuff. So the language, it's just like, really, do we need to do this? I mean, I'm happy to engage in debate. I'm not here to change your mind. You think what you want to think, that's fine. But you might hear something that makes you go, ooh, yeah, no, that's not great, is it? Or, ooh, yeah, that might affect all the kids in state. I hadn't thought about that. Or you might turn around and go, you're talking rubbish, bog off. That's fine, free speech and all of that. But the instant resort to you idiot, you ghoul, you C word, you B word, all of those, just don't. It does not show you in your best light. Not that you care whether I think you're in your best light or not. And that's as it should be, isn't it? So we'll all hug it out. It's all brilliant. And I think X is a little bit like an enema, isn't it? You've got to have it. It makes sense. But oh my God, it's painful. But once you've got your point across, you feel quite relieved. Is that a bad analogy? A good analogy? It was basically on the whole poo thing. Yeah, perhaps we ought to leave it. Too many antibiotics for me. Too much clearing up to do. I'm doing it bit by bit by bit, but sort of haven't finished anything, so I've created more of a mess than I've actually resolved. 'Tis the season. I'll leave you with those. They're very incoherent ramblings today, but it's one of those days.